What is up, guys? I wanted to get on and make a really not really quick video. I don't know how long it's going to be, but kind of just wanted to talk about some stuff going on in my life and maybe try to make something of it in terms of like a I don't know a lesson or something. Maybe just more of a video focused around positivity and I don't know. We'll see where it goes. Motivation, so to speak. Um, Man, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Lately, I've really been down in the dumps, and I mean, a lot of it has to do with these constant feelings of loneliness. Maybe I feel like there's inadequacies. Maybe I feel like I'm not doing enough here. I'm not doing enough there, and I just keep getting worked up in my head. And all of these things in my head are so negative. And obviously, that's not ideal. That's not something that I want to be thinking about, have to think about any of that, or even entertain in my head, because I don't want to be living with these negative thoughts, right? But where do they come from? And for a lot of us, I mean, I'm not going to go into a lot of that for me, but I would say that it's pretty, for a lot of us, pretty obvious, why we may feel these certain things. And I don't know. It's just, it's been putting a lot of pressure on me lately. And I don't even know what this, pressure is really. I mean, it's not really from anyone around me, right? It's not, it's just me, right? It's like this idea that like I need to do more. And I continue to ask myself, like, what is this more that I keep feeling? And I don't know, what could I possibly do to achieve that? And that's not even really the focus. It's just like, I don't know, I'm just trying to get to a mental headspace where, I'm looking at things from a more positive light. And I think that that's beneficial for all of us to do, right? I mean, there's just been a lot of times where the stuff that my head has to say isn't, very productive, and it isn't working for me. It's working against me completely. And some examples for that, your inner voice being like, oh, you suck, or you're dumb, or you're not good enough for this, you're not good enough for that. But it can take it a step further into, a real life application. And I know for me personally, I had to do a big old scientific capstone to graduate with my degree. And while I was doing that, before I even started, in my head, I'm like, there's no way I can do this. I'm going to fail this. I'm not going to be able to get the data that I need. I'm not going to be able to do any of the things that I need because I'm just, I'm awful. I suck. I can't do anything, and obviously that's a hyperbole. It's an extreme. But also at the same time, like, that's kind of where I was. And, I mean, how many times in life do we kind of get into a situation, a period of time, right, where we, imagine worst case scenario. We imagine that the most awful things imaginable are gonna, happen to us, or that we're heading towards nothing good, or that we're just kind of doomed, right? But also think about all the times in your life where you have thought that and it didn't turn out being the case, right? Probably quite a few for a lot of you. I know for me, one of those situations was what I just mentioned with the capstone. I didn't think that I'd be able to pull it off, and I didn't think that I would graduate. I thought that was going to be it for me. And I was able to do it, but I will say it was probably a lot harder than it needed to be with all of the negative thoughts that I had going on in my head. And I'll be truthful about that. I think that anything that we do in life, if we do not kind of have a positive simulation of what we want to occur in our head, then realistically, it just may not be what you want it to be. And there is a Bible verse that I wanted to mention. This Bible verse, I've heard it all my life, and my mom has told me it all my life, and I realize, and not just now, but I've realized more and more and more over the years how much truth there is to this. And I wouldn't say it's my absolute favorite verse, but it's Proverbs 4:23. And basically it is, be careful how you think. Your life is shaped by your thoughts. Think about that. Be careful what you think. Your life is shaped by your thoughts. Guys, whenever I hear that verse, there isn't just the aspect of the idea of caution, right? You're hearing that and you immediately assume negative. But there is a double-sided coin, right, to this argument, a double-edged sword, right? And the other side is be careful what you think, because it could lead to something amazing. And not just the idea of being careful, but the idea of what you think. What is up here, right? That could be the escalator, right? I don't know the name for it, but you ever been to an airport and it's flat, right? But they got that rolly thing, right? And you can run on it, right? That's you in your head. Whenever you're positive about things, you're not just walking down a hallway that's 800 miles long. You were literally on a rolly thing and you were sprinting at like 750 miles an hour. Right? That's the analogy. Whenever you're thinking positively, you are aligning yourself with the reality in which you make that happen. You know why? I'll tell you why. And this isn't going into quantum physics or anything crazy like that from some of the past videos. It is literally simply down to the fact that imagine if I wanted to invent something and I'm thinking negatively to myself every day about it, right? I'm probably not going to get very far, but imagine if I only think constructive thoughts, positive thoughts, or neutral thoughts about this. And through that process, those positive thoughts lead me to creating more structures in my mind. I'm like thinking, oh, I'm hyping myself up. I'm like, yeah, this is an awesome invention. I'm going to be able to get these web slingers right out. And I'm just going to be able to make this compound to synthesize into web shooting fluid. And it's going to be so easy. Right? But if I am negative about it and I'm like, oh, I'm never going to be able to make these highly complicated mechanical devices that shoot a liquid that hypercondenses into some type of solid string-like fluid that is stronger than steel. It's like, yeah, you know what? If I, Spider-Man, was so pessimistic about the idea that I wouldn't succeed, I'd probably still just be climbing up walls, right? And I'd probably be wearing like, I don't know, a wrestling mask or a shiesty, and I'd be out in like a black t-shirt or something, right? I don't know. No, but I hope that you get the point. Like if you are aligning yourself positively with what you're wanting to achieve, whether that be a job, a inventing something, you want to plant a garden, you want to get a new car, maybe you want to hang out with a new friend, maybe you want to do anything. If you are constantly negative about it, what you were doing is you were creating all of these hyper situations where none of it is reality. Let's put it that way. Whenever you are negatively thinking, and you may think in your head, oh, Spider-Man, I'm really good at making situations in my head, and I can see it because I read books, and I can see everything in my head, and I can see that the same way. That's great. Let me tell you something. You're not reading a book. You're not reading anything. The only thing that you're reading is, for some reason, whatever negative influence is coming in, and that could be spiritual warfare, if you want to look at it like that, but it could also just be, a product of patterns that have occurred throughout your life, where you are, essentially molded kind of into this more negative thinker, this more pessimistic person because of situations, perceptions, all of that kind of, all that different kind of stuff. Either way, all of it has to come down to what you really want. And I ask you, for anyone watching this, and maybe 2 viewers on this, what do you want? I mean, what do you want? And what are you going to do to get there? And how are you going to, what are you going to do to keep this positive psyche up while you do it? Let me give you another example. I'm not even going to lie. Like, I don't even have any type of, massive following. I don't have a ton of people watching my videos or anything like that. And there's kind of just this voice that's like, you need to give up. Like, why? What is the point? I actually talked about that with my roommate last night, and he looked at me dead in the eyes, not really any emotion. He was like, Spider-Man, what is the point to anything? And if we ask ourselves, what is the point to anything that we do, we're going to find that other than worshiping God and loving each other and all of this stuff around us, there really isn't a point. Right? And when, obviously they didn't immediately break the spell of like, oh, I'm cured. I have no doubts whatsoever. I still have doubts. I mean, even as I'm making this video right now, I have doubts just about so many things, including this channel. But and you can apply this wherever you want within your own life. But for me, it's all about consistency. And I want to prove to myself that I can be consistent, whether I'm, gaining any type of influence, following, whatever. But while I'm doing that, and while I am being consistent, there's also this kind of pressure in my mind of like, well, you can't just get on there and literally say absolutely nothing in every single video, just get on there and ramble about nothing. And then for the most part, I've really tried to talk about something. And I get that I can ramble for sure, but everyone does. But it's like, what is the purpose? And I don't know. I genuinely right now, I don't really know yet, I guess. But I do know this. If I were to continue with this negative headspace of doubting all of this right now, what I'm doing right now, I'm not, like I mentioned with that invention, I'm never going to get into a headspace, where I'm positive about it. And then it creates, through this positivity, through this, reinforcement, it creates these new ideas of what I could do, because again, I don't really know what this is and what I'm doing. But if I'm constantly negative about it, I'm never going to know, right? It's kind of like if you are playing a sport, right? And imagine if everyone in the stands on both sides is booing you and they're saying that you suck. Unless you absolutely have no ego and you literally do not care at all about what anyone says, or you're deaf and blind, then it's going to really affect you, probably. Negatively, of course. But imagine if everyone on both stands was cheering for you specifically. Imagine how that would feel. Imagine how reinvigorated you would feel to just get out there. And if it's football, just hit somebody or score a touchdown or whatever you're doing. You would have more passion to complete that, to do whatever it is, to be more successful, to put more effort into it, to try harder, to stimulate your brain further, if you're positive about it. And so again, I ask you, what in your life do you feel like is something that that you want to do, that you've been thinking about doing, but these negative thoughts are more or less holding you back from it? These scenarios that you've created that have nothing to do, they're not based in reality, they're not true. They're literally the only way that they're going to exist is in your mind, right? And trust me, I'm pretty bad about that too, but we have to remain vigilantly positive. That's the only way, in my opinion, that anyone's going to be able to stay sane with all of this, crazy stuff going on in the world. And it is crazy. I want to mention one more thing, and then I'm going to wrap up the video. I don't know if I'm going to make analogies or whatever. I'm just going to get into it. I was, this morning I woke up, it's like 7:30, 8 in the morning, and I'm laying there and I'm angry. I'm angry, at a lot of things. But one of them being is there's a person that I know, let's put it that way. They're older, and they're within the department of the college that I was in, and I worked with them starting, at a very early age, all the way up, basically, to kind of this point now, but like a year ago more so, whenever I stopped being more active in that, and I was kind of angry because I'm thinking, I know this person has the option or the ability to hire me, and I mentioned to them many times that I want to work for them. Like, I'm very enthusiastically want to be working for them. Sorry. And it just never seems to work out. It never seemed to work out. And again, I'm angry, and I'm thinking in my mind, oh, the next time I see them, I'm gonna say this, and this, and it's gonna be, oh, well, you had this person leave and that person leave, yet you still didn't bring me on, and it just goes to show that I don't actually mean this. And it's like, oh my gosh, you're being so dramatic and emotional. And I asked myself a question in that moment. I was like, what if right now in this moment, as I'm feeling this, what if I turn that into love? What if I turn that into something positive? And so immediately I just feel this overwhelming, urge to do this, and I reach out and I text this person and I say, hey, there's still this thought in my mind. It's like, be an asshole. No. But I text this person. I'm just like, hey, is there anything at all that I can come do for you, to come work? And, immediately they text back and they're like, of course, yes. And I just, had to stop. And I'm thinking to myself, just a minute ago, all of this hatred was consuming my mind. And I'm thinking of all these scenarios, and I'm thinking of this person and how they just probably hate me. They probably just hate me. They don't talk to me. They don't want anything to do with me, but I've created all of this in my head. Right? And now, because of this hatred, you channel that into something positive, and I did, and I channeled that into something positive, and I texted her, and I got basically exactly what I wanted, right? Because in my mind, what I wanted before any of this, whenever I was still in this hatred mode, was that I wanted her to know that I guess now the secret's out there. I wanted them to know that I was upset. I wanted them to know that I was upset. And I'm thinking of how can I let them know that I'm just so mad, so angry at them, so angry at everything. But no, and not just for this situation, but for any situation, guys. That's not going to work. It's not going to work in your favor 99.9999999 to the exponent of infinity times ever at all. And I understand that you may feel like your emotional arguments are better than people's logical arguments, but I promise you this: if your emotional arguments are rooted in hate, right? If they are rooted in any type of sinful nature, any type of negative nature, it's just not going to be a good argument. I promise you that, right? But if your emotional argument's rooted in positivity and enlightenment, right, you're probably going to have a good argument, right? And it works both ways. I'm not saying that emotional arguments aren't as good as logical arguments, right? There's got to be a lesson in all of that, right? There's got to be a lesson in there somewhere where, like, at the moment that you're feeling the most hatred towards something, show it love. I don't really know what that means quite yet and how I can apply that, but I think that I'll keep that around, and whenever the situation arises, maybe I'll make a video about it. You know what I mean? I don't know, guys. I just wanted to get on and try to have something somewhat positive and just, kind of share a little bit about what's going on, and it is very true that I do use his channel as kind of like an outlet. Just like, I don't know, if I'm kind of feeling overwhelmed or like whatever emotion I'm going through, it's really good for me, really nice for me to just be able to, put on my mask and come on here and kind of say whatever. And I really, 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 really appreciate all of you guys who actually watch this. And if there's any people out there who are consistently watching my videos, you're the man. Or woman, or whatever. I love you. I do. I appreciate you. I'm going to be on here again probably soon. Probably make a video tomorrow. Maybe another one today. Maybe I'll convince my roommate to get back on, and who knows. But yeah, I hope that you guys have a good one. And don't know what to expect for the next one, but I'm sure that I will see you guys soon. And remember to stay positive and genuinely try your best every day to be the best person that you can be. All right, guys, you guys have a good one.